Guys, welcome in. Welcome into the Marshall Experience. Our favorite time of the year is finally here. We finally get to start talking about fantasy football. Guys, I couldn't be more excited. The amount of things that I can talk about, the amount of time that I can spend talking about it um, is unlimited. It really is. The facets of fantasy goes so deep that it's math, it's knowing football, knowing players, knowing tendencies, knowing offenses, defenses, matchups. There are so many things that go into fantasy. And again, I could spend hours and hours and hours and hours talking about it. But right now, what we're gonna do is for this first episode, we're gonna kind of take an introductory, right? A lot of people in this world don't know what fantasy football is. Have they never played? You know what kind of questions do they have, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into Robert. What's going on, man? What we're gonna do is we're gonna start from the basics. Okay, we're gonna describe and test out what each league is. Okay, there are several different types of leagues, guys. We'll get into them later, but there's redraft leagues, there's keeper leagues, dynasty leagues, auction leagues. There's different sets of scoring. There's a lot again, guys. There's a lot of different facets that just go into fantasy. Period. Right. Again, 4 to 5 different types of leagues, 2 to 3 different types of way of keeping score. Just the way that in depth, man. Down south said, "Who should I take number one overall this year?" Guys, breaking news: if you have the number one overall pick, I think it should be Jamar Chase, in my personal opinion. Now, depends on the league. Depends on the league down south. Is it a redraft? Is it a one quarterback league? Are there 2 quarterback leagues? Again, fantasy is so in depth, man. It's not even funny. Um, and the way that each league is set up is it changes. The rankings change. In a 2 quarterback, you're looking at, or a super flex in that fact, you're looking at Josh Allen, Lamar, Joe, right? If you're looking in a redraft where you draft every year, one quarterback league, I'm looking at Jamar, JJ, Saquon, Gibbs, Bijah. I mean, you know what I mean. There's a top 5 for sure. But again, it depends on what type of league we're talking about. And again, we're gonna really get into depth of this. So bear with me. Robert said, "I need a fantasy football league. Can I join yours? And how does it work?" No, so mine's full up, bud. I am a part of one that's been going on for 8 years. We've been going on for a while, and we've had the same core, pretty much the majority of it. And how to join a fantasy football league? I would download an ESPN app or a Yahoo app. Those are for more of the beginner types, and just join a free league. Join a free league and give it a shot. There are free leagues. It's not always money, and it's not always gambling to an extent. There are free fun leagues for the people that just want to test it out. But guys, we're gonna get right into this, right? We're gonna get right into this, and we're gonna get into the different types of fantasy leagues. Okay. And as I talk about this, you're gonna notice what type of fantasy leagues you may partake in, right? Okay, so we got obviously our daily fantasy leagues, right? These are more of the gambling, to where you get a set amount of money. You spend so much money to draft said players each week. Okay. That's kind of like a daily, weekly fantasy, just for gambling purposes, right? Um, the most common one, that's more traditional, would be redraft fantasy football leagues. These are more of when you're going up against other players head to head. right? You set a lineup, the most points out of the week wins. But the specialty part about the redraft is exactly what it sounds like, the redraft. Every year, you're going to draft a new team. There's no keeping players from last year. There's no. You pretty much sit around with a group of buddies or family or whoever work, and you draft these players every year. You never have the same team. Those are redraft leagues. Now, these are traditional. These are the most common. Okay? Again, every single one of these, the rankings are different, and I will explain why. Our next league is going to be called Best Ball. Best Ball League. It's probably the easiest to play for beginners. You draft a lot like the redraft leagues, but guys, there's no ads, there's no drops, there's no trades. Whoever you draft is what you have for the whole year. Now, these rosters are a little bit bigger in size because of injury purposes and stuff like that. But yeah, there's no moving or no moving people around at all. Can't drop them, can't add new, can't trade. This is very, very, very basic. But you also, hence the word best ball, you don't set your lineups every week. It is automatically set for you after the week has already been played. So they take your best scores, combine them together, and that is your score for the week. If that makes sense. Again, very basic, very beginner-like-ish, right? Then we go into something a little bit more difficult. Now we're talking about an auction league. What's called an auction league, okay? So basically, it's what it sounds like. You start out with a set amount of money. You take turns bidding on players. Obviously, the highest bid wins, okay? This is repeated until every team is full. Much unlike the redraft and best ball leagues, say you have the 10th pick in the draft. Well, you're not going to get the best player, right? You're not going to get a Jamar Chase. You're not going to get a Saquon Barkley. But what I can tell you in an auction league, that any player is available at any position because it's an auction. There is no order. So this is why it's intriguing to a lot of fantasy football players, because it doesn't matter the order of the pick. You just bid the right amount. So that's pretty much an auction league. Next, what I am in and what I've been in the last 8 years is what's called a keeper dynasty league. Okay. Now, a keeper and dynasty are both a little bit different from each other. A keeper league, you keep players for years. Okay. Mostly it costs draft picks to keep them. So it's to their value. So let's say Amon-Ra St. Brown was drafted in the 4th round last year. It would cost a 4th round pick to keep him this year. So you got to go off of value, and you got to be smart about it because you lose that draft pick, right? Dynasty is about as close as it gets to being a GM, guys. To a real life GM. This is about as close as it gets. You operate the roster. You operate the what's called a taxi slot, which is basically like your practice squad. I mean, there's so many facets to this to fantasy football, guys, but it's about as close as it gets. So for Dynasty, the only difference really is you keep these players for their careers, if you're willing. Now, you do trades and you do ads and drops off the waiver wire, right? But if you want to keep your team for the 10 years, that's on you. You can keep them for their whole career. This Dynasty is more for the hardcore fantasy players. Again, it's very much in depth, guys. Very much in depth. So those are kind of the basic types of fantasy leagues, I guess I should say. Now, a lot of you may hear PPR leagues. Okay, it's not a thing. It's a redraft, keeper, dynasty. Those are the types, right? The scoring is what the PPR is, or the non-PPR. Okay, so the PPR stands for points per reception. Now, guys, this is huge. Okay, this is huge. Think about it. The reception is usually worth a half a point or a point towards their point total for that week. Okay, let me break this down for you. JSN last year in a PPR league would have been the 10th highest ranked wide receiver. 10th. In a non-PPR league, he's 18. Because he mounted 85 catches. That's either 85 points or 42 and a half points added to his season total. That matters. It's a lot of points. It's a couple weeks. PPR leagues are nice. PPR leagues are nice. Kind of like, so the non-PPR would just be without the catches. It would just be the yardage and the touchdowns. That would be the only two things that count towards the scoring. Kind of an example, Kamara. We know Kamara is a pass-catching running back. With that reception rule, he would have been running back 15 without it. But with it, he was running back 9. So you see how it helps their performance drastically. Now, another scoring option that we do have, if you've heard about this, tight end premium leagues. Okay, I'm in one of these. These are nice. So obviously it is what it sounds like, tight end premium, where tight ends are valued just that much more because they get a whopping 1.5 points per catch. Okay? These are rare, but they're worth noting. Again, tight ends move up in value, guys. I mean, you're looking at tight ends being top 10 picks because of, like Sam Laporta, Trey McBride, these guys that are get the targets, they're going to be high draft picks in these leagues. Okay. I saved the best for last because this is, in my opinion, next to redraft, the traditional, this is the most common. Okay, this is what we call a super flex. A super flex league is when you love quarterback scoring, this is it for you. This is what you need to find if you like quarterback scoring. Super flex means I can start in one slot. A quarterback, an extra running back, an extra wide receiver, or an extra tight end. In that one spot. I have 4 options to go over. Now, obviously, it's smarter to start a quarterback, which makes it a 2-quarterback league, potentially, right? Not a lot of people do use quarterback. I've been known to use not 2 quarterbacks in a Superflex league, but it definitely gives you the options. So now, see how it changes up your drafting process? See how it changes up everything? Because now if I have the ability to start 2 quarterbacks. Now I might go Josh Allen in my next pick. If there's a quarterback available, it might be another quarterback. Why not? So this is why I say it depends on the type of league that you guys are in. If you guys have any questions, man, do not be afraid to shoot me a DM. We're on TikTok, Facebook. You can message me on Facebook as well. I'm here for any content, any recommendations of what you guys want to hear talked about. We can take suggestions as well. My finishing statement would be, the truth is that many winning draft strategies come down to being counterintuitive. Okay? It doesn't matter what fantasy football league you choose to play in. They all have the same. They all have some unique or quirky rules that you're going to have to adapt to. Which again means general rankings will only fit to your league settings. That is a big one, guys. So when I share my rankings on TikTok or Facebook, and they say dynasty, and you're not a part of a dynasty, ignore them, because youth is valuable in that over talent sometimes, because I get longevity. Again, if I'm just drafting them for 1 year, I'm not worried about age. I'm just worried about best being best of value. But if I'm starting a dynasty for 10 years, I'm looking at the 23 and 24-year-olds. Because I want longevity. I want youth and talent. Right? So again, guys, I really wanted to keep it simple this time. I really want to just start out real basic. These next couple weeks, we're going to start diving into rankings. We'll eventually get into mock drafts. Guys, again, there's so many different ways that I could go. I could talk for hours. I could talk for days on end about fantasy football because it's that in depth. Again, very much knowing football, very much knowing schemes, very much knowing matchups, and being able to do math. There's so many different areas of fantasy football, and I love every part of it. Every part of it is my favorite part. So, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in. We are sponsored by the Sports Lounge Media and powered by the Sports Lounge Media and sponsored by the Mogul brand. Guys, I appreciate you guys coming in. I appreciate you guys in the chat. We're going to be live every Tuesday doing fantasy until the start of the season, and then more so after that. So, guys, tune in every Tuesday. You guys can talk in the chat. If you guys have any questions, you guys can always shoot it in the chat, and we will do our best ability to answer. You know what I mean? We can do like a 2-minute question and answer at the end of each Tuesday. If you guys, again, would want to. If you guys have any suggestions, any wants, any needs, don't be afraid to come ask next Tuesday, please. Please and thank you. Here at the Marshall Experience.